Yeah, it was a good start for us. We got some good work. Saturday we were able to play an exhibition with St. Cloud, and I thought it was a great tune-up. Both teams got everybody on their rosters included, and kind of did some specialty situations, which it was less of a game and more of a controlled practice, but it was really fun. And then yesterday playing Manitoba, I thought it was more of a traditional feel of what a game would look like, and so I thought our team played pretty well. I thought it took us a little while to get going, in particular when you're mixing different people in, but overall I was really pleased with what we saw. So as we look forward into year two, people continue to ask what are your expectations, and I think it's a really tough question to answer. This is our second year, which there's no excuses anymore, which I'm tired of answering that idea of are you D1 or not anymore. We're a Division I program, and yet at the same time, with all the roster changes the transfer portal has produced, and the Olympic players coming back, and the COVID waivers coming back, it's going to be a challenging year in our league for sure. But we're excited to face that challenge, and I'm looking forward to some positive results as we go forward.
Mick, it looks like you had a question.
Yeah, Joel, just describe, for you, the different feeling of this fall versus last fall. You had so much on your plate, and there are obviously so many new things with this program. How different does it feel, I guess, this fall for you?
Yeah, Mick, it's a good question. I'm so excited for this fall, to be quite honest with you. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy last fall trying to do two things at once, but the whole idea of an Olympic team is to battle for 4 years, to get to 4 months, to get to 4 weeks, to get to 4 hours. And so trying to balance that with also a college program is tough. And so this year I can kind of dismiss that other USA Hockey side and really just say, hey, this is a lifelong development process, which is what I believe college athletics is. And so I'm excited because we get a chance, as myself personally and our staff, just to dial into the student athlete experience, to give them the ideas of what we think a college career at St. Thomas is all about, competitively on the ice, and also culturally off the ice. And so I'm really excited. I can't tell you. Refreshed is maybe the wrong word, because it doesn't acknowledge how much I appreciated last year and the opportunities that were afforded to me. Which I really loved, but I'm just on Thomas.
Did you have another question?
Yeah, you've got two Swiss Olympians. They've both played in the World Championships. Just describe, what they kind of brought to the team. And anytime that somebody plays at that level, obviously, I mean, there's a different level that they kind of bring to a club.
Yeah, Nicole and Saskia are pretty special players. Yeah, and I say that just in terms of their impact in our locker room as well. They're gifted on the ice, but they're also gifted as leaders, and so they carry a presence, kind of as you're indicating, of people who have been at the highest level, and kind of know what it takes. And so that's certainly something we're counting on. At the same time, I'm worried because they're tired. They went through an Olympic Games in Beijing. They had a full summer programming of programming with their national federation, and then a world championship in August. And so my biggest hope for them is they get a chance to take a nap and, a little bit of a break. I'm serious, because, we were talking, I gave the opportunity for both of them, of course, to take a day or a game off, and neither of them wanted to. So I think, I, as a little bit older person, load management is not a word, a structure that I like. but I think we're going to have to be patient with them as they start their season, and that gives other people opportunity to step up. But we're certainly going to count on them as the season goes on for obvious reasons.
Just to have, I think you guys have, your top 4 scorers back, from last season, just to have that experience under, in their back pocket now. And if for you to have a little bit of a track record with them a little bit, I would imagine that that's got to bring a little bit more stability to what you're trying to put forward, huh?
Yeah, when I look at our returning players, I just think they bring a little bit of character and a moxie. Last year they were new to everything, and they didn't know what they didn't know. And I thought they did a great job of kind of taking a deep dive into the deep end of the pool. And so I think what they bring this year, and I've noticed it in practice, and I noticed it in our first few scrimmages in exhibition games, is they have a little bit of a presence where our freshmen are coming in still thinking they can get away with playing like they did in high school. And where our returning players, our leading scorers, regardless of their age, know what it takes to play in the WCHA. They know what it takes to be a Division I hockey player at the college level. And so I think that's a part of the growth process of going in this process, the D3 to D1, is having people who know what it takes, that it looks a little different, especially in the league we play in. So I'm really excited. I'm excited also for some of our returning players who weren't leading scorers, the Anna Solheims of the world, the Ali Pauls. There's some other people that I've noticed in practice who are carrying themselves a little bit differently, and they look like they belong at a D1 level, because they know what it means to go on the road. They know what it means to play in big games. And that's the benefit of our conference is, it only takes about a month, 6 weeks at the most, and you're exposed to some pretty high levels. So I think some of those underlying players that might not be on the score sheet are actually going to contribute to our success, maybe more so than the others, because they're used to it now and they know how things go.
How do you see the goaltending situation this season with, Alexa obviously played the majority of games last season, and as you're mentioning, Saskia was gone for the Winter Olympics. Do you see that as a real competitive spot for you guys right now?
Yeah, I do. I think it's awesome. I don't know if I've never been a goalie. I think they're weird, but I think it's a great spot for goaltenders to be in. And the first 6 periods we played, or 6 segments, if you will, we've gotten great goaltending from both Alexa and Saskia, and also from Maggie, a freshman from Northfield, who, if anybody watched a state championship game in Minnesota, a year ago or a year and a half ago, she put on a pretty good display. So I'm excited about our goaltending. I think we've got a great mix. Saskia has obviously got some national team situations that she needs to plan for. And so it really gives us as a coaching staff great confidence to know that if she happens to be gone, and one of our pieces that we could put in that place is out of the lineup, that Alexa and Maggie are right there. And then there's the competition, obviously between, Dauber and Saskia, and it was great. And I think it's a friendly competition. I think it's a healthy competition. They both support each other. And so I look forward to a very similar pattern for us this year. If somebody shows up and clearly demonstrates that they're the number 1 goalie, then we'll make that decision. But up until that happens, we're going to continue to rotate with 2 or 3 goalies, because we believe we've got depth at that position.
Joel, I know it was just an exhibition game, but your team rallied from an early 1-0 deficit in the 3rd period, scored 2 quick goals, and you got 4 different scorers. I mean, does that say something in the exhibition game, what you guys are able to do?
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I think it really did. And I'll be honest, I was a little nervous going into that 3rd period, because we had been switching around the lines so much over 5 periods up until that point, going into the last period on Sunday, that I wasn't sure if we had it in us And I give credit to our other coaches, Bethany Browse and Marty Sertich. They kind of gave some instruction, some feedback, and also a little motivation in the locker room between that second and third period to kind of to send a message of, hey, this is what we're going to be about this year. And so I really thought that was a big third period for us. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things in terms of this year's record, but I think it matters for us in terms of how we're building out our approach as we go forward and being confident in our ability this year. So yeah, Ryan, it was a big deal. And I think whenever your team can rally, it doesn't matter what game it is, if it's an exhibition game or, a championship game, it does give you confidence on that bench and in the locker room that, hey, we can do this. So I thought it was a big moment for us.
Do you like the fact that you have a week off to prepare for Wisconsin, or would you rather kind of keep the consistency and have a game, coming up right away?
Yeah, I don't know if I like the week off. That's a weird question. It's hard because it is what it is, right? Our schedule just it's a little wonky this year. We've got a few weekends off at weird times. As we look forward to it, we're choosing to say, hey, this is a perfect situation for a week off. And so we're going to approach it that way. We're going to treat it as though this is the best case scenario as we get ready for Wisconsin. You watch them go out, early last week and play right away without a lot of practice and split at Penn State. And so there's some pros and cons to playing early. There's some pros and cons to playing late. I think what we've talked about is we feel like we had a great opportunity to play some exhibition games so we can see somebody in a different uniform to compete against. And now we've got an opportunity to prepare this week and then have a nice couple days off. Hopefully it's a beautiful weekend here in the Twin Cities and somebody can go to an apple orchard and, get some hot cider and enjoy some time off. And then we get after it and get ready to go to Madison, which we know will be an incredibly tough opponent, especially playing there. And it'll be everything we can handle.
Any other questions, Mick or Ryan?
I've got one. Kind of on that schedule talk notes. Are there any weekends or games that jump out to you here in the preseason more than the rest?
Yeah, I think as we look forward, our beginning of our schedule is so weird. We've got a few weird off weekends between now and November that I think what we're looking forward to is having a lot of practice time, which is good with a larger roster. But there's nothing specifically that jumps out when you look at wherever we're going, whenever we're going there. We go right from Wisconsin, then we come back home and we host a team that's very clearly, if you look at Franklin Pierce in their weekend last weekend, they're ready to play. So there's no specific weekend that jumps out. I think what we're looking forward to, I think it's a good fall for us to get set, to be rested, to be healthy. We get a few weekends off early, then we get Thanksgiving off late. And so I'm excited because I think our team will have a good balance as we go forward through the fall.
Yeah, and then kind of referencing back to really the first question about you splitting time between the two masters a little bit. That's different this year. But we were here for the preseason last year. So what's the toughest part of preseason and what have you maybe done this year that has been better than last year?
Yeah, I think that the best part of this preseason versus last year has been that I'm not trying to think about what else should I be thinking about? I think our staff was so incredible last year and they are this year as well. So I look at the way that I'm handling this preseason and I'm trying to be better. And I'm trying to be more present for our student athletes. I'm trying to be more present for our whole hockey staff and making sure that we're taking care of every detail. I'm able to get to know players at a different level than I was last year, because even though I was here, I wasn't always here. And so I think that's the biggest difference is the singular focus that I'm fortunate to be able to have this year. And I give a lot of thanks and gratitude to our administration at St. Thomas, because without them, I couldn't have done what I did last year. And obviously now that leads to this year. So I think that's the biggest area for me that I'm excited about is I get to get up every day with a smile on my face and get to go to the rink. And the reason I go to the rink is not to, no offense to anybody on the Zoom or at the press conference, not to hang out with every one of you, but it's just hang out with student athletes and try to teach and learn from them, encourage them and help them grow. And anytime you get that chance as a coach, it's pretty special. And I'm looking forward to more of those opportunities than I had last year.
And then one more super general, easy question. What is the overall message to the team this year?
Oh, the message is we're building a program here. We want to compete. We know we play in an incredible league. We know that to climb the ladder in our league is very difficult because you have to replace somebody. And any team you look at trying to replace is really, really gifted and talented. And so the challenge is for our team, we never want to settle for just saying, well, we've got a great culture and we love each other and we've got a great program and we're doing the right things, but we're not winning. We want to have both. We want to say we want to win, we want to be competitive, and we want to have a great culture and compete at the highest level on and off the ice or on and off the field or whatever your area is. So I think that's the challenge going forward for this year. And that's the message is let's continue on. Last year, we set a great foundation. I can't tell you how many times people said, man, your team works harder than any team I've ever seen. And I always want to have people look at us and say, you work hard, you're an incredible team, your players play the right way. And also we want to win. And it's not one or the other. It's got to be both. And so that's what I'm looking forward to taking steps as we grow in our Division I process is to say, now we got to add wins. And that's going to be the message for this year and next year and the following year until we climb the ladder all the way to the top of WCHA, which I think St. Thomas is in a unique and amazing position to accomplish.
Thanks, Coach.
Questions? Great, thanks, everybody.